going to introduce our next speaker, Rick Voight. Rick is the CEO and co-founder of Vivid Pics and publisher of Reunions magazine. He's a longtime photography and imaging professional. He previously held leadership roles at Hewlett-Packard and Kodak, helping develop new ways for people to create, preserve, and share photographs. Through Vivid Pics, he continues that work by developing simple, affordable tools that help families and organizations preserve their photos, memories, and their stories. He was named a 2024 Maverick of the Year by the American Business Awards. Everyone, please help me in welcoming Rick Voight to the Georgia Archives.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you all. So it's really a pleasure to be with y'all on a number of different levels. One, for Lily and specifically to invite us to come and say, hey, means a lot to me. Two, we're a Georgia-based company. I lived in Alpharetta the longest of any place I've ever lived, and I've lived all over the country. And for 20 years. So it's really a pleasure to be with y'all today here in Georgia. Live in Charleston, South Carolina. So I'm going to read this to explain a little bit about who we are. So Vivid Pics invents and harnesses technologies, making it simple for individuals, families, and organizations to relive memories. Their motto, "Don't let your memories fade," describes the importance of photos and activities that nurture brain health, improve cognition, assist family historians and caregivers, and create connections. Vivid Pics integrates their photo reminiscence therapy research and family history activities into products and services for simple operation to have fun and age well. The reason I read that is we started off as a company that actually improved underwater photos. It was our first product, our first patent that automatically improved underwater photos. Somebody said, have you ever thought about improving old photos? And I have Kodak roots, the co-founder of Vivid Pics, Randy, who I like saying is the smart one because he is, also has Kodak roots, and he holds over 150 patents in digital imaging science with Kodak. We, Vivid Pics, hold 2 full patents. We have a third one up his way. And this journey that we've been on, has taken some interesting twists and turns. And one of the biggest ones, i.e. the integration or the morphing between being interested in photos, but mental health, happened because I happened to notice May was National Photo Month. It was also Mental Health Awareness Month. And all of a sudden, our trajectory changed. So you'll see that integration of family history and aging well and mental health, brain health, aging well in everything we do. So life is made up of people, places, events, and feelings. This is one of my favorite photographs. It happens to be of my daughter. And Megumi is the type of kid that literally used to trick or treat for UNICEF. She had a higher calling in life. This is when she was doing active duty service in Djibouti, Africa. And people think about the activities that we do in the military as being warlike, and of course, that's part of the job. In addition to that, this was at an orphanage in Djibouti, Africa, and it was around the holiday time, and they were engaging with the orphans in Africa and giving them a wonderful day. And that's Megumi. These are the pictures that bring forth emotion, and these are the stories that should be shared. Photos, documents, and keepsakes provide prompts to reminisce and share wonderful stories. So photos, I immediately get it. What's this thing on the left? Well, you'll hear Anne describe this artifact here in a couple of minutes in the presentation, but it has a powerful meaning to her. Isn't a photograph. What is it? capturing the memories before they fade is a responsibility. So the lady on the left is my sister. She's old. She's 3 years older than me. The lady on the right is my mom. She's older too. But she passed 4 months ago. And if we don't capture the stories before they either fade away or are gone, we've lost so much knowledge. We need to take the time to capture that knowledge. So I'm Rick Voight, CEO and co-founder of VividPix. I've been in memories industries for 41 years, Kodak HP, now with these things with mental health. I've been married for 41 years. I have a wonderful family, and I strive to help others. That's my goal. My North Star is to do well doing it. So we've been in business for 14 years. Our software is in use in over 100 countries. It's installed in over 1,200 libraries across America, and we're trusted by individuals, families, and organizations. And this is Juan the Turtle. So that's where we started, which was actually a duty that Megumi, coming out of the U.S. Air Force Academy, her first job was that she was responsible for the Southeast United States, USVI, and Puerto Rico for diversity recruitment to the Air Force Academy. And she took this picture of Juan 30 feet of water, and we made it look better. So why don't let your memories fade? So what is the genesis of the memory station? And I'll spend a couple of minutes on what memory station means. But I was fortunate that we developed this thing called Restore. And I'm not a genealogist. I'm not a genealogist. On my mom's side, I can track back to Ipswich in 1647, being an indentured servant, and yes, we're a DAR. On my dad's side, they came over from Germany through Ellis Island. I'm second generation born in this country. On my dad's side, first generation with a college degree. And that's that side. But I'm not a genealogist. I can do it. Ish, you guys do it. And I'm interested in where I come from, but the stories, if we don't capture them, is going to fade away. And I wish I had more of these. So, Mom, we've got an old photo album here, and I would love to have you explain to me and other lucky viewers to explain to me what's inside of here, some of the people, and all that fun stuff. So what are we looking at?
We're looking at 2 Jocelyn girls. We're looking at Lois and Beverly.
Wow, cool.
And Lois is 5 years older than Beverly. And this is in the buggy. And this is on the farm. Esmond.
Wow.
This is on Grandma's porch. This is Beverly and Byron. And this is Lois and Beverly and Byron on the porch.
Wow. Okay, so I hope you don't mind me aging you here. Can I age you here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you are 87 years old?
Yes, I'm 87.
So this is 2018. And you look like you're probably pretty young in that picture.
I think so. Maybe a year old.
Maybe a year old?
That just says.
Scribble. Cool. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So if I hadn't sat down with her and pointed a digital camera to take a video to capture that story, was there anything to explain what that picture was? Scribble. So most of us have photos and memories handed down to us from about ourselves and those who came before us. Parents took pictures of us or came down to us. And we've created our own photos and stories that we've collected and wish to share with our kids and future generations. like the picture of Megumi. And we have lots of stuff, especially like Kitty. So Anne literally, well, interestingly, she lives now forever. She had not touched our software prior to 30 minutes to having a camera put on her. We've spent a lot of time to create easy to use software to capture stories.
I have so many pictures and boxes and documents of things going back to 1894. I'm so glad that I found some way to preserve them for my family and future generations. Let's get started with my memory station. It's so easy to use. The image stabilizer flattens the photos to make a better scan. Then all you do is press scan. What's really amazing is that it doesn't have to be a picture. It can be an object and it will scan it. Click Restore and your images will automatically go into the Restore software to make them look great. So this is a faded photo. So you want to go up to Faded Print or Slide and click on that. And then it gives you all of these options and you can pick the one that you think looks best to you and click on that. And you can see the difference. It's amazing. So now that I have restored my image, I'm able to record a voice memory to go with it. So I'll go down here to record. This is my grandmother and all her sisters. I think there were like 12, and they are picking strawberries in her brother's strawberry farm. It's just great. They all have their bonnets on, except my grandmother. She was a little bit of a rebel. Stop record. But it's wonderful because now I can share this with my whole family. They've never even seen it, and you're all set. So Stories allows me to combine my images and my voice recordings of my memories to create movies. So this screen allows me to remove any images that I might not want or move them around to create a movie. So then you go to Create. Now let me share this wonderful short story with my family. This is my grandfather's naturalization paper that he got when he came over from Ireland in 1925. This is my grandmother and all her sisters. I think there were like 12, and they are picking strawberries in her brother's strawberry farm. It's just great. They all have their bonnets on, except my grandmother. She was a little bit of a rebel. So this is a pouch. It's called a pouch, and it goes on the kilt that my grandfather wore in World War I. He was in the Irish Brigade, and this was part of their uniform.
So it's what I did with Mom, right? But now I'm able to scan, to restore, to record voice memories that are then able to be combined to create a full story. So some rule of thought is that you should organize your images so that all of that work is done before you start sharing story and capturing knowledge. To me, that sounds like work. I like the inspiration. When I open up an envelope of photos and it hits me, I'm going to wing it. What is it? Lillian, how do you pronounce her? Wing it. So I'm just going to be inspired because all of a sudden I have memories that come back to me. And you know what? Those same the memories that I think of now are maybe different than the memories I think of another day. So I want to capture those different thoughts when I can. So the memory station is as easy to scan, to restore, to record those voice memories, to be able to share them with others. So if you come across the bottom, you can scan or import. So what does that mean? Scanned it, or any digitized file that you've got, you're able to import. then you restore, then you record, and are able to transcribe. So what does that mean? So if I have either I record it right now as I'm going through the process, or I've got a digital recording, I can import that into the Memory Station software. So many of us, you guys in the genealogy world, you have microcassettes that you recorded at the time of what people have said. If you digitize those, you're actually able to import into Memory Station software the recordings that you have from others. And now you can have them describe whatever that content is, the image. When it goes through transcription, all of that voice becomes text. That text is then able to be put directly into the image metadata to always be transported with the image. So it's like writing on the back of photographs, but digitally. And I'll show that in an example in a couple of minutes. Then you're able to combine it. You can have a story that is one or many images. And we just launched 2-3 weeks ago that you're able to import videos as well as pictures. So you're literally able to bring in the pictures, tell the story, and then bring in the videos and stream it together in the memory section. So why would we want to do this, and what types of stories might you be wanting to bring forth?
My grandma, I call her Grams, bought a new scanner and
you guys hear
software
this?
to record genealogy stories. It all started when my great-great-grandmother entered Grams in a contest for the most living grandmothers. She tied with a girl from Maine for first place. A couple years later, 5 of the 7 living grandmothers were celebrating Christmas with Grams and her brother. The local newspaper published this article: 5 generations and 5 grandmothers celebrate Christmas. My second great-grandmother was hooked. She started her genealogy research and continued working on it for another 50 years. Here I am in a 5-generation photo when I was 2 years old. Standing on the left is my great-grandmother, Grand Jackie. Then there's Grams holding me. Sitting is my great-great-grandmother. She was 96 years old. Next to her is Mommy holding my little sister. It's sad my brother didn't get to meet our great-great-grandmother. She passed away a year before he was born. I don't remember her, but I'll always have these recorded stories. This is Grand Jackie. I only get to see her a couple times a year because
So, sorry that I didn't trim that properly. So generations, talking about generations. People talk about intergenerational connections. If you can actually be engaging young and old, isn't that a wonderful thing? I don't think I have it in this presentation. We did an event at the National Genealogical Society conference last May in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's working on aligning the aging community, aging well community with the family history community. And David Rencher, who is the Chief Genealogical Officer at Family Search, wonderful man, described that grands are more comfortable telling grandchildren and further about things that happened in their life than they are with their own children. So why don't we use that to capture the knowledge? And the kids, they're looking up to their grandparents and there's such reverence. Here they're actually willing to spend time with them. Now we reduce the isolation and loneliness like Kate was talking about a little bit earlier. So there's so much important information that we can capture and preserve if we take the time.
People often ask why my daughter is named Seneca. Now that you're old enough to answer that question for yourself, Seneca Jane Morton, I made this story for you. 3 years before you were born, I visited Seneca Falls, New York, widely accepted as a birthplace of the women's rights movement in the United States. With my mom and our friend Nancy and your 2-year-old brother, I toured the Women's Rights National Historic Park. I learned about some of the women who led the early charge for women's equality, including Mary Baker Eddy of the Christian Science faith, which supported women's rights consistent with its belief in female spiritual power, and which faith also appears on the maternal side of our family tree. The wall where the Declaration of Sentiments is carved recounts injustices toward women. I felt anger and sadness, but I also felt strong and emboldened at these women standing up for themselves and for us. I will never forget that moment. Later, when we heard the exciting news that we were expecting a daughter, and almost immediately learned that you had spina bifida and that your life would have a lot of physical challenges. Your dad and I started thinking about what to name you. I wanted a name that would draw on a legacy of womanly power. In our family, we already have a matrilineal name, Jane. It's my middle name and that of my mother and her aunt, whose sister was a Christian Science practitioner, and so forth, back to, what do you know, 2 women named Seneca, Jane. Could there be a stronger, more beautiful name for you? Seneca after Seneca Falls and Jane after the women in our family, and Seneca Jane after 2 of our female forebears. The combination of names is handed down, but it is now uniquely yours, Seneca Jane Morton, to give your own stories and strength. Love, Mom.
So there are so many. First off, Sunny Morton, if you don't know who she is, look into her. She's currently the editor of the National Genealogical Society magazine. She was co-editor of Family Tree magazine. She's just a really cool, wonderful person. And so I look at this video on so many levels. First off, she was a scrapbooker. So this came directly out of the scrapbook, so that she digitized something that was analog and told the story. Memory Station can do a 12 by 12. By the way, most scrapbooks, most photo albums are 12 by 12s. Why? Because it's 2 4 by 6 prints side by side and 3 tall. So now those scrapbook pages are able to be held together. It was funny, the lady that was up here at the beginning on the archiving saying that you want to keep those books intact because the person who put it together was telling the story on that single piece of paper. So that's what she was able to do through multiple pages. 2, genealogy. Okay, where did that name come from a genealogical perspective? My dad passed a dozen years ago, actually 14 years ago to be exact. Might have had something to do with why I quit a company called HP and decided to start a company, because I decided to do something for myself. But I can remember Dad telling me where I got my middle name. So Richard Irwin Voight, and I got my middle name from my grandfather. I wish I could hear his voice telling me that yet again. Seneca is able to hear her mom tell her that. So now all of a sudden we're tying together the family history and the real meaning. So everything to this point is what we call the story wizard, a step-by-step process that was, Memory Station has been evolving over 5 years. Everything prior that you've seen so far was created prior to November 2025. And as we listen to what people want, they love the wizard because it made everything easy. And some people will stop with the wizard because it is so easy. But memories takes all of the restrictions away. So you're able to import essentially anything again. It can be anything digitized. It can be photos. It can be audio. It can be video. You're able to scan it, you're able to restore it, you're able to create story, print. So, I'm sorry if I said it earlier. So my last job when I was with Kodak was Vice President National Sales Manager for any consumer printed or digitized image for North America. And then at HP, I helped with HP and a few others, spent $500 million spinning up a division. So when I was thinking about coming to market, of course, I was thinking about how can I create a print business? Yes, we have VividPix prints, but a lot of people, you know what? I want to create pages on my home printer that is taking the photo and the text from my voice transcription and start creating pages at home. I don't need everything to be going through a wholesale photo finishing process. So through Memory Station software, you can print it out on your home printer, or you can save it to print at your local Walgreens or to go online. Output. So at any point in the process, you're able to output all of this into your own personal computer so that you have control of where it goes. So you want to leave it on your personal computer and back it off on a hard drive, you can do that. No one is forcing you to do anything with the software. If you choose to go into a wonderful program like in our Coral, wonderful. It comes right out of our software into our Coral. File menu, everything has been, so I'm very fortunate to meet really smart people in my life. So other partner, Ken Ross, is a senior programmer and more at Microsoft. So the wonderful thing is we have team members that can create the file menus and the way to be able to do things well. Collections menu, and I'll show it in a second. So it's cool that you got thousands of individual images, but I want to group those in certain ways in order for me to be able to keep track of families or events or any types of things. And then the whole memories menu. So what does that mean visually? So I think we determined this is my ending. So I'm going to have to point. You probably have. There we go. So everything that you've created through the Story Wizard is saved in a SQL database on your computer. Fancy way of just saying it keeps track of where everything is on your computer SQL database. So that if I've created something of an individual image that has a voice transcription and has that information somewhere on my computer, all that knowledge is available now within the Memories menu as individual images. Oops. As individual images. I can also keep track whether it's a favorite, whether it's voice recording, whether it's a video, whether it's a voice recording, or whether it's been transcribed. So with one look at each of these images, knowledge of what's available is right there for you. And then I can combine them as well into groups. So memory. And we're describing these things. So the first thing is that I'm able to record a memory or import a memory, and then I'm able to transcribe it into text. So now that picture and all that knowledge is right next to each other at any time, and then I'm able to combine it into the story. I'm able to combine those videos as well as the images, and I'm able to actually have it be a number of things. Let's say that I had a celebration of an event, whether it be a celebration of a life, a birthday, whatever it is. I'm able to bring it in and have those videos and images play on the surface, and I can have a music file running underneath multiple images. So it's a slideshow with underpinning of audio, whether it be a voice or music. So that way, let's say that I've got a story that someone has told the story of a life. I'm able to have the voices transcend across multiple pictures. I'm able to have music transcend across multiple pictures. And I'm also able to have all that text be describing it as well. So in the output field here, so now I've got all of those images, I've got all of the text. I want to be able to create a story. And let's say that it's a single picture that I've described with a lot of detail. I'm able to put that on a single page. Let's say that it's a 1, 2, 3, 4-page story. I'm able to put that together and print it out on my home printer or send it out to my local Walgreens, whatever it happens to be. Why is that important? If you think about photo books, the photographic industry has not created photo books very well. They're focused on photos with a little bit of caption. Within genealogy, you've got a lot of text that's explaining those important images. And that could be a simple line of text to describe what something is. And that's a title that's automatically done within Memory Station software. Or you can have more text that lays and describes based on the voice transcription that you use to describe. And now you can lay that out instead of pages automatically. Confidentially, I'm playing with it on my computer right now. So one thing, if you're an Apple user, Memory Station software is Windows only. Sorry, I've spent a lot of money to develop Memory Station software. It's not yet an Apple product. One of the things that people want to be able to do is to use their mobile devices. Why do you want to use a mobile device? Let's say I'm over visiting Aunt Mildred, and Aunt Mildred will allow you to be able to review her photo books, but those things are not leaving the house. So you're taking your phone, you're taking the picture of a picture. I want to be able to import that into my Memory Station software to have it be part of something else. Yep. Let's say that, and we spend a lot of time in the elder care world. Let's say that somebody is in hospice and you are spending such valuable time and you're able to go through the photo album or go through the individual pictures and you're able to capture that person's voice because your phones are able to always capture voice as well. You're able to import that in from your phone. Let's say you shoot a video on your phone and you want to be able to import that video. It could be a soccer game, it could be anything, and bring that into the story. All of that now is literally as easy, and this is probably 2 or 3 weeks from release, is that you're able to click import from phone, a QR code opens up on your computer, and this works on iOS and Android. It actually, on the network within your home, pulls up your file area within your phone, and you're able to bring all that directly into Memory Station software. It's like. So metadata. So metadata is cool because, again, writing on the back of the photograph is how, and around the edges of the photo in a photo book is great because that's how so much knowledge has come to us. Metadata does that digitally. So as I
Maureen.
do that again. So as I voice record and transcribe, that's creating metadata that then is able to be stored directly into the image file. Then we also create a .txt file that goes into the file folder. And now let's say that you're uploading into Family Search, which Family Search ignores metadata. Other programs strip metadata. Family Search is part of what's called the Family History Metadata Working Group, or savemetadata.org, which I happen to be currently the chair of with Family Search and others on the team, including Maureen Taylor, that you're about in a second. So it'll ignore the metadata. So having within the image, So to have the .txt file so that when you are uploading your images, you're able to copy and paste that knowledge into whatever it is you're doing, whether it be an online site or what you're bringing it into a book. Hopefully I'm being clear.
I'm Maureen Taylor, the photo detective.
And I'm Rick Voight with Vivid Pics.
We're talking about family history essential metadata today. Thank you for joining us.
So about 5 years ago, we formed an organization called the Family History Metadata Working Group. And because that rolled off our tongues so well, we decided to change our name to SaveMetadata.org. And our role is to look at all the different ways that you can save information into an image file and have it transported to other formats and other platforms. So we're going to describe that a little bit now.
So what is metadata? There's a lot of misinformation or misunderstanding about what metadata is, but think of it simply. It's information about your image that is captured in specific fields within your digital file. And there are established standards for this that define metadata structure, properties, and fields. But think of it again simply as date, location, people, objects, events, caption or description, and album. These are the building blocks of telling your family history story.
So a picture is worth 1,000 words. And if we're able to capture all of the information against all these different platforms or all these different fields, feels like it'd be worth 1,000,000 words. And why is that? Well, we'd be able to preserve all the information that we know about the image, and different people have different knowledge about the images. And then we'd be able to transport or portability from one location to another, whether it be on a website, whether it be within our home computer, and whether you move it from one place to another. And then searchability. We all have thousands of images, and trying to find just the right image for just the right story can be pretty difficult. So what if you could simply search for a couple of words, and all of a sudden all the different images that are described by those words come up on a screen, and you're actually able to find the images that are important to you? That's searchability.
Yeah, imagine being able to find your photographs within seconds.
So there are two companies that are compliant with EXIF IPT. And I'll go back one.
I'm Maureen Taylor, the photo detective.
That are EXIF IPTC, MWG compliant, and that is Vivid Pics and Adobe. So these are the international standards for metadata. We fill all the fields within those standards, so that no matter what program you're searching within, you'll be able to find your images, because all that text that was transcribed from your voice is able to be searched upon. And you probably will be able to have that be available in our Coral relatively soon too. So that is a consumer perspective at what this might do. What about if you're responsible for an organization like a library or a historical society? There are over 100 million Americans, 12.5 million Canadians, and 1.2 billion globally over the age of 55. We wish to share our stories, to share other people's stories with children of all ages and future generations.
I'm Ken Larson. I'm from Sequim, Washington. Genealogy is finding names, dates, and places. You got family history, which is learning about the people.
Introducing the Family Matters Community Outreach Toolkit, a partnership of the National Genealogical Society and Vivid Pics.
Vivid Pics and the National Genealogical Society developed a turnkey program to help organizations bring the public in the door. Through this partnership, organizations can access equipment, classes, and interactive programs that connect people with their family history and organizations with new audiences.
VividPix is all about making it simple to relive your memories. This includes scanning or downloading photos and documents to create your family history, fast, easy, and affordable software to improve these images, and various education to help people do more.
The whole education arm of VividPix is so important, telling people about story. I've been a strong advocate my entire career about the power of story. That's why people engage in genealogy. That's why people join societies, attend webinars, show up at conferences. They're excited, they're engaged about finding their family's stories, the power of story. It changes lives. We know that. That's why we do this. VividPix has been a wonderful partner to help people find their stories and appreciate the power of story. Then in addition to really strong, really solid education, we're so pleased to be partnering with VividPix on the memory care aspect. And if you think about it, there's kind of two ways of interpreting memory care. One, we know our photographs contain many of our family's memories. VividPix is helping us care for those memories. Second, we know how important it is to take care of our family members, our friends, our loved ones who are on the dementia spectrum. And VividPix, through their work with the National Institute for Dementia Studies, has found and has identified and articulated best what we kind of thought or believed all along, that taking pictures, marrying really good metadata to those pictures, or taking pictures to our loved ones and recalling stories and events related to the picture we're showing helps people.
We installed the memory station in June of 2022, and I can tell you some of the things we've gotten done, because it's been great. We've scanned over 2,000 CGS photos and almost 3 gigabytes of CGS historical documents. It's also been very popular with our members, having scanned countless photos and historical documents themselves for their own family history work.
A major part of the success of your programming is based on public outreach. The Family Matters Toolkit has turnkey promotional templates, but that's not all. We have marketing education by experts Amy Johnson-Crow, Sue Kaufman, Sherry Bush, and Allison Dupre Singleton.
Let's look a little bit deeper, because there are free options even for ones that you think of as traditionally paid. You want to look at radio public service announcements. You can request television stations to cover events.
Your toolkit has press releases and templated content that you can use for the public service announcements that Allison discussed. We also provide you with a calendar of holidays to plan and promote timely events. These same templates work perfectly for community flyers and on social media.
So why did we develop this with NGS? So for those of you who are consumers versus part of the Society Library Archive Museum group, is that the community that is interested in genealogy is decreasing. Family history is of interest. So what we as an industry need to do is to get the family history interest people involved in genealogy and family history. And what does that mean? So if we have over 100 million Americans over the age of 55, with 11,000 people turning 65 every day, shouldn't we be talking to those individuals and saying, we can help you at the archive, at the library, at the museum, with societies, because that's what we do. We want to help you collect that knowledge. So that's why NGS and VividPix put this together. It's a turnkey program. Preservation pathways. So I was at NGS last year, the National Genealogical Society conference, and this crazy gal walked up to me and she said, I'd like to get to know you. I've been paying attention to what you guys have been doing over the last numbers of years. And we talked, we got to know each other. I'm being really transparent. And so I explained what we were up to, and a couple of minutes later, I walked over to their booth and it's like, that's pretty wild. Hardcore. And then we've been on this dementia path for 9 years. And it took a couple of years to be able to do primary research. And now we literally have 2 institutional review board studies, which means that college peer-to-peer review studies going on with the University of Texas, as well as with the University of Louisville. So that when we are doing interaction with young and old, or old and old, or whatever it happens to be, people who really know what they're doing are paying attention to make sure what we do is being done right. And then this crazy person is saying, and I like what you're doing in the dementia space. Let me tell you my story. My husband is an overachiever. He has frontal temporal disorder. Oh, by the way, my sister's husband has FTD. He has me, Kate, my husband. Frontal temporal disorder, Lewy bodies, Alzheimer's, and aphasia. So I like what you're doing there. We can probably do good and help a lot of people together. And as Kate captured, I know a little bit about photo. She knows this, along with Laverne, that I don't know, and I don't care to know at that level. So together we can do so much more, and that's what Preservation Pathways is all about. So the world is interesting. So we started off in the dive world, in the scuba diving world, and I used to support this organization called the Women Diver Hall of Fame. And the Women Diver Hall of Fame is supporting ladies that are involved in arts and science and all those things in scuba diving. And I was on a panel discussion. It was a Zoom one, and this lady came on the screen, and she had a whale shark behind her as her screensaver. and I said, nice whale shark. And she just kind of looked at me. And so we did the tech check and got back off. We came back on a couple hours later, having completed the tech check, and now the panel was going to begin. And she came up and she said, I checked into you guys. You guys fix underwater photos. And I said, yeah, we do. Well, it ends up that her daughter got a grant from Women Diver Hall of Fame for her to become a doctor.
And I'm here to tell you, aging today is not the way you aged or how our grandmothers aged or our great-grandmothers aged. It is very different. So, for example, when Medicare was passed and 65 was set as the age when Medicare would start, that's because our average lifespan was about 67. Nowadays, 85 and older is the fastest growing population. 100 and older is the second fastest growing population. And oh, by the way, the Department of Labor says that there's only one age band that's going to grow in the civilian workforce between now and 2030. And guess what that is? It's not the 30-something, 40-something, 50. It is actually 75 and older. That is going to be the only age band that is growing in the workforce. So how many of us have been planning for that 75-year-old work life, 100-year lifespan?
So I'm a universe person. And for those of you who are universe people, you know what I'm saying. If we pay attention to the things that are going on around us, wonderful things can present themselves. I met and become friends with the person for 17 years was the chief medical officer for AARP, Charlotte. She believes in what we're doing. She's come to 2 trade. She went to Roots Tech. She went to NGS. She's gotten to know us because she believes in what we're doing. And this is important. So, Preservation Pathways. So together, we can make a difference. None of us can do it on our own. Together, we can do so much good. Please come and play. You won't be alone. We're very proud that across the spectrum of senior care, of museums, of historical conferences, society, and this is a sampling of societies, municipalities, museums, aging well conferences, educational institutions, and libraries. We're working together in order to make great things happen. Please, either A, share what this is with those that you interact with, or please come and play. We'd love to have you be a part. Any thoughts or questions?
Which one of their sons costs?
Which one?
The scanner.
Scanner on its own is $6.99 with Memory Station software is $8.99 home edition. With Professional Edition, which outputs, by the way, we scan at 600, we meet NARA standards. So NARA up until 3 years ago required 600 DPI when you were doing a scan. They reduced their standards to 300 DPI, don't know why, a couple of years ago. So our home edition software scans at 600 DPI and outputs JPEG. Professional Edition, $11.99 with scanner and software, 5-year license, outputs 600 DPI tip as well.
How much did you say the professional?
$11.99. And it's $200 off at the end of the month. Question, yes, lady, young lady.
I scrapbook.
Yes.
And so if I take care of my scrapbooks and keep them out of inclement situations, I know that they can be passed down for next few generations. The way technology changes every minute, are my great-great-grandchildren going to be able to access this?
The question was, this young lady is a scrapbooker, and she wants to be able to make sure that if digitizing, will that information be available in the future? Two-part answer. It was interesting listening again to the Courtney, is that her name? Is that the digital process is hard. Think about our own lives that we've had so many different things, and there's the SCSI cables. I mean, the cables that went inside the towers is one of the biggest problems. So short answer, you have to do everything you can in order to have longevity of preservation. So don't throw away those originals if you can keep them. Space is always hard. So getting the digital file. B, redundancy. So you want to keep a local digital copy, you want to keep a local backup copy. Currently, you want to keep a cloud copy. I didn't include it in this, but you're going to hear VividPix talking about a product called Nanofiche. Nanofiche is literally printing on nickel at 300,000 dots per inch. Nickel has resistance to 2,200 degrees. It is literally volcano proof. We currently have collections of literature up on the moon that has been stored on Nanofiche technology. So if you're interested in long-term, so local copy, 10,000 years. So if you're interested in local, keep it digitized, local, cloud, or Coral, I highly recommend that. I don't put, Kate, and you know you've heard me say this. I have not put my name and logo with another company other than Family Search. So that's how much I believe in what they're doing. And then, so cloud, and then Nanofiche in the future. Yes, sir, ma'am, sorry. Yes.
Okay. You probably saw my eyes glaze over about halfway through the presentation because I am so technology focused. But let me ask a hypothetical question. I happen to have a son who's very techno savvy, so I'm going to hand this to him and talk to him about it. This is a practical question. Had an 80th birthday celebration. It included it was all it included photographs and it included videos of people saying nice things about me. With your software and your device, could I make a file of that one thing that included both the audio, video, and the still photographs all in one kind of place? Is that
So I'd
something
love
that
to repeat your question. So is it possible for you to be able to take your photos, voice recordings, and video recordings to create one story?
Right.
Yes. It's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What are your thoughts on whether this would be a profitable business for an individual?
So the question was, is this sort of a product something that you might be able to commercialize as a business? And the answer is yes. So that's one of the avenues of preservation pathways. Is that what we feel is that there are various businesses. You might be a genealogy person and you want to help people tell their genealogy story and capture the knowledge and all those types of things. Check mark. How do I do the business with it? It might be that you're interested in working with senior living and the like. Check mark. You head down the list, and that's what the education will teach you how to do. Without preservation pathways, is that there are countless people that have interest in capturing their legacy and they don't know how to do it. They need help. Yes, business. And that's what Charlotte spoke to, is that the fastest growing population group in the workforce is 75 plus. So yes, it's a business opportunity. Yep, young lady.
With let's say you're scanning this information or whatever. Did I understand you to say you scan maybe even a complete soccer game, football game? So is there a limit or daily limit or an hourly limit or to scan and upload on?
So the question is that if you're scanning things, so there are limits to anything, i.e. of use and those types of things. So if you go into a library and the like, sometimes they say you're limited to X period of time.
Mm-hmm.
If you have it in your home, there is no limit. Everything is literally on your computer. A, it's your device. B, the software is loaded on your computer. C, that software loaded on your computer, you're just putting it on your hard. You decide what happens with it after that. No limits. And then let me capture one more part of limits. We have tested up to 30 minutes of voice recordings and it holds together fine. And then from importing also 30 minutes of recordings and it holds together fine. We can also go longer than that. I personally have done it for over an hour of music recording because I had a celebration of life that I had to do in April. Am I answering your question? Perfect.
You do it for at least up to an hour and then maybe give it a break. And okay, thank you.
You got it.
Just one more question.
Last question.
May I assume that you sell the software separately from the scanner?
We do.
Okay. And what does the software cost?
Yeah. So the question was, do we sell the software separate from the scanner? And the answer is yes. The memory station. So I didn't mention in the presentation, it works, the software works with virtually every other scanner. So other than the CZUR, the CZUR, the Caesar, is the only scanner on the market today that does not use what is called a Twain driver. And the Twain driver has been out for 30 years as an industry standard. So it works with an HPL1, works with Epson, works with everyone. I don't need, so what is the price then? Memory station software on its own sells for $199, Restore is included. The professional edition sells for $499.
But you could take images from it,
Caesar apps,
including the Caesar scanner, where you have a set of images on your computer, put that into your software, but it needs to be on a PC, not a Mac, and run with that.
Yeah, so just to make sure in the recording, and if you were not able to hear, is that if you have a CZUR, if you scan, it becomes a JPEG and or a TIFF. I don't think they TIFF. You have the JPEG, and then with that image, everything else works. So any digital file, then everything works. I'm getting the hook. I'm here all day. I'll be down in the booth, and Cara will be down there as well. Thank you so much for your time.